benefit from because you've cleaned up our old materials, but you also find them of interest in study. And I guess cultural anthropology and a number of sociology, a number of fields, fashion design and so on. So, yeah.
Even beyond that, like one of the things that we've been loaned is the materials from the sheltered workshop that was present in this community, I think from the 40s all the way into fairly recently.
Yes.
And the sheltered workshop hired people with a variety of different kinds of disabilities to do piecework. And they contracted a lot with IBM to do piecework. So, you know, it was a way to provide individuals that might have difficulty getting a job otherwise with meaningful work that created, you know, a sense of belonging, commitment in their own lives. They got a wage, and at the same time, it got piecework done for a local industry. So, a student that perhaps is studying business or a student that's studying economics provide a nice opportunity to look at how a social service was tied to manufacturing and the symbiotic relationship that existed there.
Right.
That we were providing meaningful work for a group of individuals that might, in today's economy, might have more difficulty finding a job.
Sure.
And at the same time, work was getting done. So that would make, a very interesting paper for a student in sociology or perhaps economics or even business about that relationship between social services, human services, and work.
And I see too, we haven't talked about architecture, but the pictures behind us on the set, wonderful pictures of downtown Binghamton.
Right.
And looking again at old photographs, old slides, old movies. I don't know whether you're doing old videos or not, but looking at the way the city of Binghamton changed through urban renewal. I know a great deal of conversation on some of the Facebook sites,
right.
Always lamenting the old buildings that are no longer there. They're still there, documented in some of our old scrapbooks.
Right.
And those are the things that would be helpful for an architecture student.
We have a faculty member in history that's doing a local history course next semester. One of the things that our students manage to make it downtown to the bars occasionally, but there's some buildings that have really unique histories and raise some interesting issues. So one is that red building down on State Street that used to be a cigar factory.
Yeah.
One of the things that we know, and we haven't collected any materials about the cigar factory. I'd love to,
This was
get
a major manufacturer of cigars.
It was a major manufacturing. Yeah. And interestingly, women were paid an equal wage as men at the cigar factory. Huh. And when we hear that, we go, wow, that was very progressive.
Yes.
Well, you need to know the sub-story behind it and why that was the case. Manufacturing cigars, one of the last things that a worker did was they licked the wrapping paper to make it adhere to the cigar. Yeah. And so there was a very high rate of lip and mouth cancer among workers. And so in order to get workers to work at that high-risk occupation, they were paying women the same wage that they would pay men. Once again, what a great topic for a student maybe in nursing or who has an interest in public health.
Now, how do you take all this stuff that comes in and organize it so that I mean, when I look at these old movies, they would shoot very short scenes because it was expensive.
Right.
So you got 30 seconds here and 12 seconds there. And when you think of putting this all together, it must be terribly hard to organize it.
Well, when you think about films, but if someone hands us a box of slides, we've got a lot of images. What we do, and I have this great cadre of student workers. And so they digitize everything, and so they're learning about the digitization process. But then for every image, every film that we have, we create something called metadata. And metadata is information about where we got the information, when it was shot or when it occurred, if it was a letter or whatever. Who's loaned it to us, but also who the original, photographer or writer was that produced it.
Yeah.
Then they provide a short description of that. And you find the same thing for any kind of digital information that's out there. And basically what search engines like Google do is then they use the metadata to go back and search.
Yeah.
And so when we place this on our digital archive system at BU, it makes everything searchable. So if you're interested in anything in our holdings that might have to do with 1947 in the greater Binghamton area, you can search on 1947, and so maybe it's an automobile, maybe it's a family Christmas, maybe it's a shot from downtown Endicott from 1947, and so a student can then begin to piece together a story of what was going on in Binghamton, as people were returning from the war.
Right.
We're thinking about starting Binghamton University, those sorts of things that, were all occurring.
It's a fascinating process, and again, I want to emphasize that I appreciate having the old movies put on a memory stick.
Yeah.
And to be shared. I can email some of this stuff to brothers and sisters. But it's called Past to Future. Kevin Wright has been our guest today, and you can get to Kevin with your materials by sending them to wright@binghamton.edu. Let him know what you have to share. And the phone number is 607-777-2051. That's 777-2051. Kevin, thank you so much for describing the project to us.
Certainly.
A little bit of history and tradition kept alive here in our area. I'm Jeff Kellam, thanking you for being with us for the Encounter program and hoping that in the coming week you will be gentle with people and with yourself.